Prepare to spend the day avoiding mirrors, ladders, and walking over drains because the unluckiest day of the year is here. That's right, it's Friday the 13th. From books to horror films named after the date, all the way back to Bible references, Friday the 13th has long been accepted as a day that bad luck will come to town. But why is this specific date considered unlucky? And when did this superstition begin? Is there any truth in our concern over the date? If you like true stories of the macabre, strange, and paranormal, then please click on that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time a new episode of Grim Events is uploaded. Without further ado, let's take a look at Friday the 13th lore. If 3 is the magic number, then 13 is most definitely seen as the most unlucky. The term unlucky 13 has been feared since the Middle Ages, after Christians associated it with the number of guests that sat around the dinner table at the Last Supper, the night before Good Friday and the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Judas, one of the disciples of Jesus Christ, betrayed Jesus to the Sanhedrin in the Garden of Gethsemane by kissing him on the cheek and addressing him as master to reveal his identity in the darkness to the crowd who had come to arrest him. His name is also often used when someone is accused of betrayal or treason. Judas was the 13th guest to attend the Last Supper. For centuries, it has been an unwritten rule that due to the story of the Last Supper, people should not dine in groups of 13. The Christian belief that Jesus was killed on Good Friday appears to be the reason that Friday is seen as unlucky. There are also more biblical references that are linked to this fear, doom, and tragedy. In the Bible, it states that Eve handed Adam the poisoned apple on a Friday, while it was a Friday on which Cain murdered his brother Abel. In the United Kingdom, the morbid phrase Hangman's Day was associated with Friday too, with it becoming the day that prisoners were usually sentenced to death by hanging. One of the most popularized myths attempting to explain the origin of Friday the 13th stems from the events on Friday, October 13th, 1307, when hundreds of the Knights Templar were arrested and burned across France. But is there any key evidence that Friday the 13th is unlucky? Well, let's take a look at some things. In 1993, a British medical journal study claimed that there was a significant increase in incidents in the emergency rooms on Friday the 13th. In 1976, New Yorker Daz Baxter was apparently so afraid of Friday the 13th that he decided the safest place to stay was in his bed. Mr. Baxter was killed when the floor of his apartment block collapsed that day. Artist and actor Tupac Shakur was shot dead in a drive-by shooting on September 7th. He did live for a further 6 days, but passed away on Friday, September 13th, 1996. A Uruguayan plane crashed in the Andes in October 1972 on Friday the 13th. While a total of 16 of the 45 passengers on board survived, they had to eat the dead passengers to stay alive. On that same day, another flight crashed in Russia. The entire 164 passengers on board the flight and 10 crew members perished when the plane crashed while trying to land due to bad weather. It landed only 3 miles away from the runway. Buckingham Palace was bombed by Adolf Hitler's army during World War II, which killed one and completely destroyed the Royal Chapel on Friday 13th, September 1940. And on that same day in Bangladesh, a cyclone devastatingly killed 300,000 people. Talk about unlucky. Poor Welsh bus conductor Bob Renfrey had a run of bad luck that solidified Friday the 13th as the worst day ever for him in the 90s. During that decade, on Friday the 13th specifically, each time he lost his job, crashed a motorbike, fell through a glass door, and wrote off a total of 4 cars. When ISIS launched attacks on the French capital of Paris, it was Friday the 13th, November 2015. 130 people were killed. A British 13-year-old boy was struck by lightning on Friday the 13th in 2020 at the time of 1313. Unbelievable. The hospital stated that he was expected to make a full recovery after suffering burns on his shoulder. The Costa Concordia sank into the ocean on Friday, January 13th, 2012. It was reported to be the largest passenger ship ever wrecked, with almost double the number of people on the Titanic. It claimed a total of 32 lives, and the captain was later convicted of manslaughter in 2015. Many in the United States cite Friday, the 13th of March, 2020, as the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic. So in 2023, the date is going to occur twice. You got today, and then again, October 13th. Spooky stuff, but for most of us, Friday the 13th will be just another day. Or will it? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your day.